We have a new retirement income guide. Biggest concern that people have is not running out of money in retirement. Now, there are all kinds of myths out there. Dividend paying stocks, interest on CDs, life insurance, annuities. There are a lot of things that people do to try to take an income in retirement that don't work. Well, what does the evidence-based research actually show? And we got data going back to 1900 on this. Well, that's what I put this guide together for. So check it out. You can download it below, and I think you're going to be really glad you did.
Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show. Here's your host, Paul Winkler.
And welcome to the Investor Coaching Show. I am Paul Winkler, talking money and investing. Talking about investing, financial planning, how to become an informed investor, because I believe that an informed investor, an educated investor, is less likely to be tampered with. They don't take advantage of you when you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's my philosophy, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so today, no exception, we're going to be talking, actually, I have Holly Hemmrich, who is running for re-election on the Sumner County Register of Deeds. She is actually, the reason we got in touch with her is because I see these commercials, and Holly, I really want to know what you had to say. I see these commercials about, hey, somebody could get a hold of your house and steal your house, and they could, sign it over to themselves. They could mortgage it, and they could go and take all your property, and then what would you do? How would you handle that? And, it just reminded me so much of my early days in the insurance business, because that's where I started, of all the types of insurance that I came to believe you probably shouldn't have. I mean, it was a big waste of time and a waste of money. But I know that you have done some things in regards to this, and you're really familiar with these types of programs, and you're familiar with the ways to protect yourself. So, just introduce yourself. How did you end up in doing what you do, and tell me a little bit about it?
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it. One thing that I have done is I've been with the registrar's office for the past almost 18 years. And since being in the registrar's office, I've worked every aspect of the office, from working in verifying documents and receipting the documents. I've also worked as chief deputy of the office, which is doing the business side of things.
Okay.
So I've been there for 18 years now, and I love
you know the ropes.
love serving the public. And since then, I have actually worked with Representative Garrett on some property fraud issues. So
Yeah, that's a name that goes way back for
Yes.
me. Yeah, because I was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in Goodlettsville, and the Garretts are well known in the Goodlettsville community. Yes. So this is something you are familiar with, and the idea being that people can come in and just kind of describe what supposedly is supposed to happen and what the risks are to individuals out there, regarding somebody stealing their property or changing over things, and the identity theft that precedes it typically is what I understand.
Yes. Well, usually the identity theft comes, and then you have documents that can be forged. Signatures can be forged. You have notaries who may be fraudulent notaries. You can have copies of different documents, things like that come through our office. Now, what I will say is we have a set policy of TCA laws for our office for recording. So we cannot record anything in our office if it doesn't meet these specific requirements. A lot of these requirements contain like original signatures, original document, several different prepared by things that liability would kind of fall back on a notary's signature and seal, someone to go to that notary to say, okay, was this recorded correctly because you signed this, you notarized this, is this legitimate? So a lot of it falls on us to look at the recording law side of it, but it also falls on the title insurance companies title companies who prepare these documents. It falls back on that preparer or that notary So that's what you kind of see a little bit of. Is we've seen a lot of throughout the state of Tennessee. Nothing in Sumner County that I can specifically say, but throughout the state of Tennessee, such as the Graceland property in Shelby County.
That is, is that why this has gotten so much?
I believe so. Because,
so much attention.
Yes, because there's been property fraud for a while. Of course, it is, a growing criminal activity throughout the United States. In Tennessee, we just didn't really see that much of it until the big Graceland, came about. So
until it made the news on something that was like really high profile.
And unfortunately, in Shelby County, there is a lot of property fraud in Shelby County. There's a lot of property fraud you'll see throughout your 4 big counties, which is Hamilton, Shelby, Davidson, and Knox counties. So you'll see more property fraud in the more populated areas, of course.
Okay.
But as far as recording laws go, we see this. We have certain things that we look for. My employees are trained to look for these certain requirements and then look for certain things. And if they don't look right, they can bring those documents to me and I can look over them.
So from what I had seen, I'd done a little bit of research on this. A lot of times, if this were to happen, it typically happens on properties that the owners aren't paying attention, from what I understand.
Correct. So a lot of individuals that have vacant land or even the elderly, that's who they will focus on. We've seen actually recently, there was a state representative that brought it to our attention that individual's property in Davidson County was taken, and it was vacant land that was, I believe, willed to him. I'm not 100% sure about that. But so he was supposedly supposed to be paying property taxes on it and everything, and apparently stopped getting a thing in the mail.
Stopped getting a notice, and probably didn't even think about that. No. I hadn't gotten a notice on this in a while because they're like, glad I'm not paying taxes.
Right. And so, that's kind of where, 72% of Sumner County, the population, 72% of the population in Sumner County are homeowners. And your home is one of your biggest investments. So to protect your home, that's why we have these TCA laws in place. That's why we look through all this recording. And then that's why we also have the My Land Alert system, which is free. Absolutely free.
Yeah, you have a lot of safeguards. And that's where I was going because like I said, a lot of times there are insurances that you can buy, and you can be insurance poor, as we used to call it.
Yes.
I see people, buying types of insurance on just about everything, and they're scared into this, and they don't have enough money in retirement savings.
Right.
And it's typically they've been spending so much money on things that they didn't really need. So this was another one that I just had to shake my head and go, oh my goodness, more stuff. So tell us a little bit about, there was a House bill that was passed regarding this, and then there is a program that you had something to do with.
Yes,
regarding it. So tell us that story.
Sure, of course. State representative, I worked with him, Johnny Garrett. He worked with me. We talked about a bunch of the different ways that fraud has happened throughout the state of Tennessee. One way that we have seen is through the electronic recording process. So several years ago, they passed a law where the Electronic Recording Act, where you can electronically record a document with electronic signatures and electronic notary, and therefore electronically recording a document in our office has also passed through. And so anybody could electronically file a document in our office, and they have to swear to it by a certificate of authenticity that it is the original document that they're submitting to us. Okay. So we saw a couple of instances in different counties where an individual would come in and just record white out on an original document that was prepared by an attorney, white out areas, and type in their name and submit it to the registrar's office. So what we did is we sat down with Representative Garrett, went over a law that could potentially omit just individuals being able to do that. It's where the vendors who actually submit the electronic recording documents to us that get these customers, they have to vet who actually can submit a document to us electronically.
So it's another safeguard.
Correct.
And another hurdle to jump over in order to pull something like that.
Correct. Otherwise, we would have to have everybody would have to send in an original document to us to see in front of us. If you are an individual, you have to bring that document in, or you have to send that in, and it has to be original. But in this case, it can be you are swearing that it's a copy. So these vendors, what they're doing is they are submitting it to us saying they have vetted their customer. They know their customer is one of these few that we have on the list in the law, which is either usually an attorney, title company, closing company. It can be a lender. It can be a bank, an investment firm. It can be a county government. Anyone like that can submit a document by e-file. You can't just be anyone that can just submit a piece of paper to our office. So that's one thing we've done. And then we've also put the liability there on that recording vendor that sends it to us. So then there's someone to fall back on for that liability as well. If they submit something to us, then legal fees, things like that would be looked at by that electronic recording vendor.
Yeah, that's an incentive not to mess up.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. And so we've looked at that, and then we have we've got in place. I actually relaunched it this year. We have the My Land Alert system. That is actually something that we provide for Sumner County through our IT company. And throughout the state of Tennessee, there's about 49 different counties who have the My Land Alert system. And then the other counties throughout the state of Tennessee, they have a different alert system through a different company, but it's all free.
Yeah, I had we had pulled up quite a list regarding this, the various counties around here. So, we're, Sumner right here is where we are doing this, recording this, but Davidson County was on that. And good grief, Robertson County, Rutherford County, Trousdale, it looks like it's a pretty comprehensive list.
Yes.
Are there any, I'm almost wanting to ask, are there any that are not on there?
Not that I know of. Now, if there are, they could be maybe smaller counties who just don't have it in their budget to provide that.
Okay.
But none that I really know of. I believe everyone in the state of Tennessee has a type of provides something like that, a type of service like that.
Well, because in our research, we found that there was an interesting way that it was actually worded. Scott in our office actually did this research, and he says, well, it's kind of an interesting law because it wasn't necessarily funded. It was up to the counties to fund it. Yes. and the counties, but apparently they've stepped up to the bar and they've done it.
Yes.
And they've actually funded it. So which is good news that they've actually handled that. So I know that there is an ability to sign up for this program for the general public, and I guess when people come around trick or treating, and you're like handing out stuff.
Yes, actually, speaking of which, I did last night at Drake's Creek Park in Hendersonville. We had all the families came through, and we gave their kids candy and gave the parents a pamphlet on has the information on My Land Alert and my reelection here in May. So, but something I do want to state with the My Land Alert system, it doesn't. Everybody is worried. They think there's some type of protection, like some type of a lock, because a lot of people sell this, I can lock your deed for you type insurance.
Right.
And there's nothing really that locks anything. What this is, it's a early detection. It assists in early detection for property fraud.
Because I had actually heard that it's not foolproof, so you can sit there and say it's foolproof, but it's not even with the insurance that they're trying to sell or anything like that. But you have so many things that are so many barriers. So yeah, keep going.
Yes, criminals are smart. I tell you, I have seen some smart criminals, and I've seen some dumb criminals.
That's true.
But to me,
with TV shows made about that.
With property, it seems like they're getting smarter and smarter every day. And so that's one of the things we're trying to stay ahead of is to kind of cut them off at the pass. So this process here, it's an early detection service. So what you do is you sign up for it. And the way I try to explain to people is we index by whatever the document says. So say your name is John A. Doe. Okay. We're going to index that just like that. So depending on how the document reads, that's how we're going to index it, and that's how it's going to send you an alert. So I suggest every individual, every homeowner in your household sign up for this individually and put your name in 3 different ways. And that way you can kind of get those alerts.
Oh, interesting.
In 3 different ways.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
so any way that your name might be referred to out there, you sign up under that different variation. So it may
Correct.
be your first name, middle initial, last name, and it might be your first name, middle name, and last. It might be your first initial and your middle name if you go by that. And,
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so where do they actually go to do that?
So you can go to the www.mylandalert.com, and that will then send you there. You go to register, and they will send you an email to a link that you then process an account with them.
Okay, so mylandalert.com.
Yes.
And from the research that I've done, it's like you put in your email address, you put a name, and you come up with a password, is
Yes.
what I'd seen, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you specify the county, the name, and you said 3 different ways. So that's good to know that.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really good to know that. And then, and what I see, and it says that every day at midnight, the servers check the Register of Deeds records, making sure everything looks okay. And if a document matches your name on the alert list, you're going to get an email with the details.
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
That's how we make sure that this happens.
Yes. Now, I will say, so when this happens and you see something that has been recorded and you're unsure of what it is, give us a call. That's what we're there for. We're here to serve the public. We're here to serve citizens of Sumner County. Give us a call. We will look that up for you and we will see what that document is, explain what that document is. Sometimes it could be just an assignment of a mortgage. Sometimes people will have a mortgage and the bank assigns it to another bank. Sometimes that's all it is. But you still want to know what's being recorded in your name because you may not get that information through the mail. So another issue too is if you do see something and it is fraudulent, you usually have to take steps to go to an attorney. You have to take legal steps.
Right.
That's another thing when you're closing. Title insurance, when you're closing through your title company, that's where that kind of comes in. That title insurance will help you with those legal fees down the road. If you didn't get title insurance when you closed, I would suggest speaking to someone about the title insurance, but don't be confused with title insurance, closing title insurance, and something like property lock system. I would kind of
Right. That's totally different thing right there.
totally 2 different things. Yes.
So who do they talk to regarding the title insurance? I can't think of any situation where I haven't had title insurance.
Right.
You go to a closing.
Yeah, you can talk to an attorney or a title company. Any kind of property title company would help you with that.
How would you know that you didn't have it?
If for some reason,
I can't imagine somebody not having it, but
Right.
it's kind of
right, sometimes you may not have it if property is, say, willed to you. If you all of a sudden you inherit grandma's big plot of land and maybe it wasn't insured and here you get the piece of property, or if something is quit claimed to you, say somebody wants to gift you property or you gift somebody property, anything like that through a deed. If you do your own deed, I don't like to say you can prepare your own deed, but go through an attorney or title company.
it's risky territory, right?
It is risky.
Oh, it is. It's like people asking me all the time, Paul, should I do my own will? And I'm like going, I don't know. That's not. I don't love that idea because there's so many things you can miss if you don't. If that's not your business.
There is. And
it's too easy to make a
Yes.
mistake.
And with title insurance, you've had somebody who's done a title search for you. And that's another thing, too, is a lot of people think we do title searches when we record the documents, but we don't. That's what the title companies do prior to recording. And so that's why you get that title insurance, because the title companies have already done that for you before closing to make sure that everything is in line for you.
Okay, very good. So I guess a big takeaway right here is the mylandalert.com website. Go set up an account. It's kind of like me telling people, go get a Social Security account. Make sure that you have a name in Social Security. I always tell people that because I want them to have a Social Security account in their name or be online so that somebody else doesn't beat them to it. Yes. And it's kind of the same thing here.
And this is free. And also
Yeah.
be aware of things that you get in the mail. There are several scams that go around out there saying, you can get a copy of your deed for $129. Please don't do that. You can come to our office and get it for 15 cents a page. That's another.
Love that. No,
Yes.
thank you for saying that. That's
Yes.
really good. Okay.
There's certain different things that just kind of circulate.
That
That
just makes me crazy.
yes.
I'd actually, Holly had actually attended a presentation recently. And this guy he's a behavioral economist, and he had this chart at various ages, in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. And it just blew my mind how, as you went along the chart, the bars got taller and taller and taller. And what they were representing is fraud at various ages, and how older people can get taken advantage of.
Yes.
Because A, they got more money, and B, a lot of times what happens is you just, as much as we love to think our mental faculties get better and better and better, they just, a lot of times we don't. They slip and life gets busy. So
Yeah. And I know a lot of individuals too, the older that they are, there's things that are so more high tech nowadays. And the older individuals, they seem to be, it worries them. It kind of scares them in a way. And so people prey on that. They use those scare tactics. So always just kind of double check or speak with your kids about it if you're not unsure about it, and just kind of double check the fine print on those documents.
Well, thank you so much for coming in here today
you.
and talking about this. It's Holly Hemmrich. She's Sumner County Register of Deeds. And is there a place to get a hold of you or get in touch with you?
Yes, you can give me a call at 615-452-3892. We are located in Gallatin and in the Taj Mahal, as people like to call it, in the administration building there in Gallatin.
It's getting nice there. Isn't it?
Yes.
No, we got an office in Gallatin, and literally one of my guys talks about what's been going on around there. So the number again, one more time.
It's 615-452-3892.
All right, Holly, thank you so much for coming on
Thank
here,
you.
and I appreciate you and love the work you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right.